We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Smart Means Business, and this is the hour of 9 o'clock. And we are definitely getting into our SMB insights this morning, like I did mention as we were heading into the break. Well, of course, this time around, our SMB insight is going to be rotating around the women involvement in the stock markets exchange in the country, or especially rotating around the Uganda's financial markets. Of course, some do believe that there is need for empowerment of the gender into this space, as also room to embrace technology for better services as well is highly required if we are to have the women get involved in such sectors and ably benefit. We are still in the Women's Month, and that is why our discussions are entirely also rotating around this same matter. Let's get more details in our SMB Insight.
How do we get women involved in participating in the stock market, in investing for their future, in accessing capital for their businesses so that they can grow, and accessing this capital through the public markets? For those of you who are not aware of what the public markets are, it is collectively in this room, if there was a business initiative, say Africana, that needed to raise, say 2 billion Uganda shillings, we collectively bring this money, give it to the investor because we trust them, and then they invest and grow their business. They're able to employ more people, pay taxes, and provide a return to the investors. So that's the role we really play as public markets, to bring together two parties, the ones who provide the capital, the ones who need a return on investment. And we played this quite well because over 2.5 trillion has actually been raised on the exchange. And there are investments that are actually providing a return to different investors across the globe. We know through NSSF, a big investor, we are all members within the NSSF, so and we're able to earn a return for the investments they're able to put out or invest in on the stock market. When we began our journey to digitize in 2015, our goal then, perhaps now with hindsight, was not too stretched. It was to move the market from a manual environment into an automated environment. I'll give an example. I think some of you have been seeing on the screen people in red jackets shouting out orders. It's called the open outcry system. You have what we call a trading floor, a trading manager, and you've got a board where somebody writes the prices. And depending on what the trading manager is able to hear, he matches a deal depending on the different stockbrokers. So we moved out of that manual environment into an automated environment in 2015. At that time, brokers were able to now trade from the offices. Right now, you can actually trade from any corner of the world as long as you have access to the stock exchange. In other words, you're a member, you're a stockbroker, you're able to access the market from any point in the world. At the same time, the process of opening an account on the exchange was quite laborious. You had to walk to your stockbroker, fill in a form, give them what we know, KYC, your information. They would get that information, compile it, take it to the stock exchange. Stock exchange would approve, verify this information, open your account, then send it back to the stockbroker, either through courier or delivery. At that point, the broker would call you in or email you and say your account has been opened, these are the details. Right now, within a minute, you're able to open an account. All you need is a national ID and accessing MTN Momo. And within 60 seconds, you're able to open an account, a trading account at the exchange. So you can see the leaps and bounds we've been able to go through. In addition, share certificates. Initially when the stock exchange opened, if you participated in an IPO, you'd get a share certificate. This share certificate would allow you to be your title of ownership, like how you have a land title. We had to get out of that process. In 2010 specifically, we automated the depository, and that meant that we moved to an electronic form of storage of shares, just like a bank account. We further automated that in 2015 with a new depository that brought in a lot of interaction. Right now, as you sit again using the different services we've got, either through the USC Easy Portal, you can view your holdings, you can print out a statement that shows your holdings, and specifically on MTN Momo, you can actually see your last 5 transactions, you can see the balances of your holdings. So as an investor, you're actually empowered to make decisions in a timely manner. You can actually see the stock prices for the day, and you're able to make an informed decision, which has brought the services to the investors, and of course through the support of our stockbrokers. The process for immobilization continues, and I think as we stand, we are at almost 96%. So of all the share certificates, or let's say the number of shares in the depository, and maybe Bob will clarify the number, I know it's over 71 billion shares. Almost 96% those are in electronic form. So investors are able to now trade seamlessly without having to go through the paper process. We continue to encourage investors who have certificates. Whereas it's good to have your certificate put up in your sitting room to show you are the owner of a number of shares in, it's also good to immobilize so that if you need to make an investment decision, you make it in a timely manner. Because again, the process of immobilizing will probably take you 5 working days. The markets change within a very short time. And so having an electronic form of your investment in the depository would be a good way to embrace the changes and the world we live in today. So with technology, we've made significant changes in this regard, and this has allowed us to expand our reach in terms of those who can access and participate in the market within the country and even beyond our national borders, regional or continental. And this to tremendously improve our internal efficiencies as an organization. We've got a lot of investors out of the Kenyan market. As we speak, we're in discussions with Safaricom to ensure that on their menu, they can access our systems in Uganda to be able to make timely decisions. In the market, things change very quickly. Information can change. I know our markets don't move as fast as the ones abroad, but the principles are the same. I think between the concession of Umeme being announced that it will not be renewed, the price moved from 240 shillings to about 300 in a space of a couple of days based on that information. So if you had a certificate, how quickly would you have taken advantage of that? If you wanted to sell, okay, Umeme is fully immobilized, all its shares are in electronic form. But this is what we're trying to talk about in terms of digital and technology. How quickly can you make an informed decision as an investor, and how can we support you through the ecosystem we've got? Having achieved this, and fast forward to 2018 and early 2020, our focus then shifted to facilitating convenient access to stock market services, making sure that the process of opening accounts, which I've spoken to, the process of buying shares is simplified and more convenient. And that is easy for the ordinary person to participate in an IPO. The MTN IPO was 100% electronic, save for the big investors. What that meant, everybody was able to use the digital channel to access the market. I think we deserve a hand clap for this. I mean, 534 billion shillings was raised, so that is a testament, and that was the biggest IPO in Africa in that year. So a lot of things have happened, and in the same spirit, we were able to open 74,000 accounts during that period of the MTN IPO. New investors. Of those, about 21,000 actually did participate in the IPO. So there are lessons to learn out of that. We have solved the how to access the market. I think the bigger conversation here is, do you really understand why you should invest? Do you understand what dividends are, which company to invest in, capital gains, when should I invest, when should I exit? That's a conversation we are currently trying to have with the over 128,000 investors that are on the stock exchange. However, in the wake of this new pursuit, we've come to the realization that there are some who are more disadvantaged than others, and women in particular. For instance, out of the 128,000 SCDA accounts, only 25% belong to women. The numbers are even smaller. those who actually invest annually. So, women, we know you invest in different aspects, but I think there's room to look at a new investment channel, a new asset class. There are a lot of opportunities within the capital markets. There are businesses that are making a lot of money. We have some of the biggest businesses in the country, biggest taxpayers, biggest employers, and these companies are run well with very good leadership from the director level all the way to management. And these return a good return on investment. But of course, we have our stockbrokers here. They are here to advise you. So, the opportunities around that. In terms of raising capital, we are yet to see women-led businesses meaningfully raise capital through the capital markets and specifically the exchange. The capital markets are there to provide you an opportunity to raise money through the public markets, through all of us. The disclosures and all the work that needs to be done is to ensure that the individual investor is comfortable that you've told the truth. Now, if businesses are not able to raise money, if we are borrowing at 25, 30%, how sustainable is that? If you need to put up a factory and you have to pay interest rates that are quite high, how competitive will you be if your product is out? And that's why the import substitutes will always beat us. But collectively, there are solutions. I think we've seen it work well at weddings, graduations. We're able to come together and raise money. So why is it hard to support businesses in a similar manner? I think there's food for thought in that aspect. I mean, crowdfunding. These are areas we are looking into as the exchange to provide solutions across the board.
Women involvement in the financial market space. I only have gentlemen here to discuss this issue. I don't know their take about Uganda's financial markets, by the way. I don't know if they find it a viable venture. Is it worth a try? Lately, Ugandans are getting more aware and more informed about this space than never before, about trading in the stock exchange, of course, investing in securities, investing in treasury bonds and all those. Some Ugandans are really fast now adopting to this. There are those who are actually into forex trading as well. So I pretty much want to believe Ugandans are getting more aware. We're joined by Pedison Mubere this morning to at least put this to bed for the moment in regards to the financial markets and getting the women involved into this space. Good morning, Pedison.
Good morning, Sonko. How are you?
We're okay.
It's very good to go to this kind of business, but especially it has not been impressed by women, like you've said. You get?
Yes.
But even like my brother said, Baridi says, even the
profitability.
The profitability is slow. You get? The return on investment is not that it's not that big. But I think there's also something these experts have to do about that to make sure that at least there is something. Again, because if you invest on something and it's not reaping a little bit bigger, sometimes you find there is a problem there. And maybe that's why some of the women are not finding it also crucial to join to the stock marketing. You're the one who understands these things more than me. Why do you think there is a problem here?
Okay, this is the thing. I feel like, according to my personal experience, I'll give an example. Recently, some company recent which laid off, released shares for people to get shares, and one of my friends bought those shares, and he told me, you know what? I don't remember the amount of money he told me, but there is something I saw whereby it would take you 34 years for you to just get 100K. Now, imagine that. Okay, I'm trying to put that in that perspective. Yes, I really appreciate what the Uganda Securities Exchange and the Capital Markets Authority is doing to ensure that people get sensitized. Okay. But just like Pedson saying, I would think it would be much more better if they first provide an avenue to create the stock market sustainable in terms of improved, returns on investment. I'll be honest with you, because 10% return every year, so if I put $1 million in Jan, at the end of December, I'm going to be getting 100K. 100K every year. Am I really working? Okay, let's get to reality. Because I think one of the countries in Africa which have the best stocks is South Africa. our neighbors Kenya here, they are
Yeah.
good, inclusive of Mauritius, away in North Africa. But
An island country, actually.
exactly, yeah, it's an island country. But you still see there was a proposal to unite the African stocks to be a listing to one, where we see revenues whereby somebody in Egypt can buy stocks in a company in Uganda, because they are in. Because what really determines this profitability is the rate at which this because the more capital you get, the more profits, because you're operating on a bigger scale, But these companies are unable to get that, because majority of the Muntu here are the ones who are buying these shares, and majority of the people, I barely even doubt whether somebody can get 1M and put it in stocks in Uganda, looking at a common person. So literally, the people that are beneficiaries into these stocks are the rich. And somebody is going to put $1 billion.
Okay.
What's a 10% of $1 billion? 100 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that at the end of the year, he's going to be collecting about 100 million. That one
So
is
it's an
working
investment where he knows he's going to earn as much as he invests.
as invests.
Okay.
So it's a rich man's game. But we are talking about the ladies they are telling to get into this. These are people, I mean, it's me. I believe Ugandan stocks are segregated. And that's why majority of the people opt for forex trading.
Okay.
Because even $5 I can trade.
Are the women scared of this, or is it a business they should give a try? Because we may think it is segregative just because they are scared. Because one day I had an interaction with some of the women in business, and they were saying because for women love money as much as we love it, but in most cases they love the money they see there. So to them, in most cases, they would prefer saving it in a circle where they know they will still get a whole sum of it.
Oh, yes.
Rather than say, if you go downtown in most of the businesses and ask the women there how many of them have bank accounts in business, you'll be shocked when most of them don't. But they know how to manage their finances. That's the funny twist about it. And for a man, if a man doesn't know how to manage his finances and he fails to get a savings scheme, he's doomed.
Definitely.
Because at least women are so economical and they know how to save this money.
Exactly.
Now, I want to believe, are they scared of venturing into this kind of saving through financial markets and everything, or it is just a new element of things that they don't understand?
No, like Bariji put it across. This is a business that involves people who are already rich,
who already have the money.
You need to have
that is in Uganda.
So if the woman is a big CEO and she has this money,
she's
can
good to
risk
go.
it all.
If you can put $1 billion, or if you can put 100M, you get your 10 million every year. Well,
you get
about that, it is okay for you. But how many really?
how many women
Not even
can
a
do
million people can. And like so if I put 100K,
Okay.
does it mean at the end of the year I'm going to be getting 10K? Is that really? Can I live life in that? Okay, honestly, viewers, I don't know what you think about this, but I'm trying to talk about this in a realistic aspect.
Okay.
You know what? I'm not saying our stocks are not okay, but the reality is, I would urge the Capital Markets Authority, in collaboration with the UCE, to ensure that you create a sustainable. If there is a way we could look at joining together with other related markets, having an East Africa Stock Exchange whereby people across all countries, and it's really flowing in money. But East Africa may not be enough. Let's look at the Africa level, how we can do this, because the reality is there is limited flow of revenues into this market. I'm speaking this from the perspective of the interactions I've had with the different people, because at some point,
okay,
I really wanted to, but I was in line and I saw all these things. I'm like, okay, that's why majority of the people are running into forex trade, because with forex trade, I can have my $5 and I know I can make $20 in a day. That is $5 is how much money? That's 15K. And if I can make $20 in a day, that is about 75K. I'm working.
You're working.
But it takes me back to my argument
So
here,
women-
where I was telling you, women love realistic.
Yes.
Realistic kind of situations when it comes to money. That is why you will find very few women in betting.
Exactly.
Women are not risk takers when it comes to their money, as men.
Very true.
Because as a man, today you've been broke. So if you have 1 million today, you can stake it in betting.
Very true. Because you're going to get like 100.
100. And now, God forbid, or quite unfortunate, that in most cases all that million is wasted.
It's wasted. Yeah.
Now, women are not ready to go in for that. And I've got to realize this is where women are better financial managers than us men, because we men are always the risk takers. We're always looking at the bigger picture. We never tend to appreciate the little that we have for the starters. We're always shooting for the sky. But now the women on the other side always understand that the little is what I can use to multiply. Now I want to believe it is one of the reasons as to why very few of them don't take these financial markets, because it does look like a risky kind of business, or it's so much of a long-term
it's much more of a long-term
than if someone wants something in the short term. You need to be more patient, and I want to believe men are more patient humans than the women.
Yeah, very true.
That perspective maybe is that very line of business. Men are risk takers. They are patient. But there are also another type of life where a woman has to be patient, that is more patient than a man.
Very true. Now, from the business side, the men are very patient because they know if things fail today, it doesn't mean I've failed.
The things are failed.
And sometimes if a woman fails today, she'll go emotional, thinking that it's maybe the end of everything. It is after a change of things now that people are more resilient, have adapted to being resilient.
And you know, now like back to this aspect of women investing into the forex and stocks. Maybe one of the ways to make it much more easier. You know, imagine, because actually this has happened before. There is a group of some ladies. I think they were in a certain church. They could raise. They were, I think, about 1,000, and they could raise 100,000. You know. Imagine 1,000 women raising 100,000. How much money? How much money is that? It's quite a lot of money. They came and bought a building. They rented it out. You know, where after some time it worked out for them. You know, so if women could really have an approach whereby they could come together, I believe they can raise 10 billion. You know, you get 10 billion, invest it in what? In a company that you really feel like it is less risky.
Yeah.
Every year 1 billion, so 1 billion you distribute it amongst yourselves, you know. Of course, I think, but on an individual basis it's not really, I would think it would really need them to be more patient than that, basing on how the current structure is designed when it comes to stocks, the way stocks are in there. That's just my opinion.
All right. Well, anyways, for those who want to invest still in the financial market space, you can use Zabu. Star 292 hash. It is open for all genders. That is, if you want to invest, for example, government bonds, you will need a minimum of just 15,000 Ugandan shillings, and then kickstart off your investment. The markets on the platform open at 8:15 a.m. and then closing time is 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Please note that these markets are fully closed during the weekends and on public holidays. Zabu, my money, my future. All takes East Africa, do something new. Well, also note that these markets are fully closed during the weekends and also on public holidays. Zabu says you can invest today in government bonds and securities. All you need is to register with your national identification number, and then after registration you will be able to invest anytime, anywhere you are. Zabu, my money, my future. After the break, we are going to be discussing more about the discussions around President Museveni's visit, the 3-day visit to Algeria. What does this mean to our country, and of course to the Algerians, and the kind of market it is going to be providing to us as Uganda. And then furthermore, having more into our SMB on ground discussions. Good morning.